Squawk? What's good, bro?
Eve is coming out in 5.6, so let's look at his kit builds and teams. He's like Sucrose Natlan edition. You press his skill, he'll float in the air, and now if you spam or hold normals, he'll keep firing bullets, dealing Anemo damage. He'll also heal the party for small amounts with each hit. His ult does a sucky, pulling in opponents and deals an instance of damage. His passive buffs swirl and electro charge damage based on the team's Night Soul points. As of right now, playing him with Natlan units that want electro charge damage pretty much means play him with a Roran. He also gets 80 Elemental Mastery for 10 seconds when someone triggers Night Soul Burst. To summarise, like Sucrose, he's an Elemental Mastery scaling Anemo driver in taser teams with some crowd control but also brings a little healing. With him being a 4-star, let's look at his Constellations. His C1 gives him energy when you attack in his skill stance. His C2 increases the swirl and electro charge buffs from his passive. C3 adds 3 levels to his skill. C5 adds 3 levels to his burst. C4 makes the sucky from his ults last 3 seconds longer and gives him 100 elemental mastery for 15 seconds after using it. His C6 makes his skill fire more shots, which means more damage and more instances of healing. For pros and cons, the fact that he heals is something he has over Anemo drivers like Hazo and Sucrose. The fact that he can spam normal attacks also means he synergizes with off-fielders that attack in sync with normal attacks, which is something Mizuki can't do. He's a nice free-to-play exploration unit too. Now let's talk about disadvantages. He is very similar to other units I've already mentioned. It's not the end of the world, but it's a little boring. We're also lacking units with strong synergy. Auroron works well with him because they both have electro-charged passives, but in terms of hydro units, it'd be nice to have a niche electro-charged support. I think that'd be more fun than just going for pure strength with Farina or Yelan. Auroron's pretty much the only Natlan unit you're going to run with him anyway to funnel Night Soul points for Aether's passive because there are so few Natlan support options. Also, when you're running in with Farina, you might find his healing isn't enough to sustain himself with Farina's bleed and him taking damage from the opponent. In terms of weapons, him being a catalyst gives him some nice options. For pure elemental mastery, which is what swirl damage and his healing scales off, Mizuki's weapon is just a massive elemental mastery stat stick. Nahida's weapon gives him a lot of elemental mastery as well as a little bit to the team. Prototype Amber gives extra healing. Hakushin Ring's gonna buff a team's elemental damage by 20% for electro and elements involved in an electro reaction triggered by Aether. It also has energy recharge and is craftable, so that's what I recommend. Also, Wandering Evenstar gives him elemental mastery as well as a little attack buff for the team. For artifacts on his support build, which will be his most common build, I recommend Viridescent Venera. It'll shred opponents' resistance to whatever element he swirls by 40%, which is likely going to be both Hydro and Electro. People might consider Scroll, because he's from Natlan, so can give a full 40% elemental damage buff, but Auroron can hold that just fine. Give Aether full elemental mastery and then focus on energy recharge substats. If you're going for a DPS build, go with Attack Sands, Anemo Goblet, Crit Circlet, and then a typical DPS weapon with crit. Wanderer and Rifsley's weapons in particular work well for the increased attack speed and damage. Now for my favourite part of the video, let's start cooking some delicious teams. So, as we know already, Aether's passive is tailored towards electrocharged and ideally you want at least one Natlan unit in the side for Night Soul points. Given the fact that Auroron takes both of them boxes, he's going to pair well with Aether. He can also hold 4-piece scroll. For the other 2 slots you have some options. You could go double Hydro, which gives you all elements needed for electrocharged as well as HP from the Hydro Resonance, which benefits a lot of the Hydro units. Farina and Yelan's a strong pair, but you can always swap one of them out for Xingqiu. Let's say we swap Farina out because she's one of the most in-demand characters in the game. Taking her out means she's free for the other half of the Abyss. The team also has better survivability because her bleed goes out the window in exchange for Xingqiu's healing. He also gives you a little resistance to interruption as well as more Hydro shred from his C2. If you only want one Hydro option, you could always throw in another Electro unit. Fischl's a good choice as always. Beidou or Lisa can introduce a little AoE, just bear in mind they'd want some energy recharge for their bursts. Given the fact Auroron has a short duration on his burst, you could go with Yaimiko. Aether holding Hakushin Ring to give everyone a 20% damage bonus on their element is going to make this team clap cheeks. Given the fact Escoffia deals so much damage and she's sharing a banner with him, you could experiment and run a freeze team. The Yelan and Farina pair will be solid as always. Shenhe would be a good flex in this team to buff Escoffia's damage. Seat Lally wouldn't be bad either with a hydro damage buff and 4-piece scroll. Seat Lally or Shenna would give the team extra crit rates from a cryo resonance too. If you had any concerns about survivability in this team, having a Scoffy of Air as a second healer along with the potential to freeze enemies makes this team near unkillable. I don't think this is Aether's best team, and ignoring his electro charge buffs is a shame. But there's so much quality in this team it'll clear all content anyway. The only question would be, why run Aether over someone else? I guess the answer is as simple as you just want to play Aether, and that's perfectly fine in my opinion. I like him as a character. Getting Electro back in there, we have this Hyper Bloom team. Nahida's burst is going to give Aether a bunch of elemental mastery as well as being an extra source of damage. Auroron can trigger Hyper Blooms and hold 4-piece scroll. Xingqiu's got his survivability benefits and a lot of hydro application. Aether has genuine value in this team too because 4-piece VV shreds Electro and Hydro resistance, his burst has a little bit of grouping, and he heals. It's nice to take Nahida off a bench because Dendro and most of its reactions fell off the face of the earth, but it's also nice that you can use Collei as a free-to-play alternative too. She might even be better in single target situations. If you have a C4, she's going to give the entire team elemental mastery too, which is probably better than Nahida only giving it to Aether. You know what? Yeah, run Collei instead. Give her a little time off the bench cause she's sure as shit gonna go hiding once Dottore returns in Nodcry. Seeing as though we're doing throwback teams, let's put this national team in here. Xingqiu, Xiangling and Bennett are the three that I went with, but if you want to switch things up, you can do. Farina will work in place of Xingqiu, Moika will work in place of Xiangling. You could even go random bullshit go and put a Scoffia in there instead of Bennett. The team can get extremely expensive though, and I'm assuming you might want to save some of those units for the other half of your abyss, so going with the original with Xingqiu, Xiangling and Bennett isn't a bad idea. What does Aether bring to the table over Sucrose? Not much honestly. I do think he's designed to be an electrocharge unit, but I don't feel the options are exciting enough. I wanted to explore the potential of different reactions. Revisiting that random bullshit go team I just mentioned, Farina, Moika and Seat Lally's a fun team. I played a similar one with Mizuki and I think her and Aether are two cheeks of the same ass. They function almost identically in the team and you'll have reactions non-stop. That's good for triggering Seat Lally's passive for the pyro and hydro damage. You'll also be shitting out Night Soul points with there being 3 Natlan units so you can pop Moika's burst a lot. Aether's doing his best to apply VV on all elements. Give it a go. One thing I think a lot of people are missing from their Genshin experience is experimentation. It's easy to watch videos to see what performs best, replicate it and then lean on those teams as a crutch, but don't forget why you're playing in the first place. You like the characters. The reaction system can be overloaded with elements. Pun not intended, but appreciated. Not all games have a reaction system though, so take advantage of it. I think Anemo units make for good drivers in mono teams, and with Mono Hydro probably being the best one, it could be worth running Aether with Farina, Yelan and Xingqiu. There'll be so much hydro energy in the team you can build less energy recharge and more damage orientated stats on them too. Finally, I'm not sure how Aether would perform as a main DPS, but the two most obvious ways to go about it would be a hyper carry team with Farina, Farazan and Bennett, or a plunge team with Bennett out for Xianyun. Let me know what team you're gonna run him in. Overall, I'd say Aether's an okay addition to the game. Nothing too exciting or game changing, but he's not completely useless. For people limited on exploration units, he'll be a solid addition to your count even at C0. In terms of combat, you'll probably want Constellations on him, and even then his teams are a little limited. I put out an Escoffia video yesterday. Tomorrow I'm going to be dropping a video on units getting buffed in 5.6, and then there'll be some showcase videos when 5.6 is out. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in them.
And take it easy, bros.